The room is quiet now. Just the soft hum of night air around you. A lamp glows gently, resting like a small moon beside your bed. Outside, the world has slowed its footsteps. Cars have gone home. Voices have softened. Even time seems to walk more slowly now. You may still feel the day inside you. Unfinished thoughts drift like loose papers. Small worries knock softly at the mind. The body is tired, but the mind keeps standing. This happens to many good people. People who try hard. People who care deeply. People who carry more than they show. Tonight, you do not need to solve anything. Nothing needs fixing right now. You are allowed to rest here. Just listening is already enough. Long ago, the Buddha spoke of balance, not as something to chase, but as something remembered. When we stop pushing ourselves forward, he noticed how actions leave gentle traces, like footsteps in soft earth. Some paths feel calm to walk again, others feel heavy, even before we return. This is what karma quietly means. Not punishment, not reward, just the natural echo of how we live. When our days are rushed and sharp, the nights often feel restless. When our choices lean toward care, the heart slowly learns how to settle. In the old teachings, it is said simply, a calm mind follows kind actions. A peaceful sleep follows honest living. Nothing mystical, just deeply human. Right conduct was never about perfection. It was about alignment, about living in a way that lets the mind lie down gently at night. You may sense this in your own life. Moments when you acted with patience, times when you spoke with care, nights that felt softer afterward. The Buddha compared life to a woven net. Each choice touches many others. Nothing stands alone. Everything quietly supports everything else. When we live with balance, the net holds us kindly. When we struggle against it, we feel the strain in our chest and thoughts. Tonight, there is no need to judge yourself. The teachings were never meant for blame. They were offered like lantern light, showing where the ground feels steady. As you listen, you might notice your breathing slowing, the shoulders easing their grip, the jaw softening without effort. In the hours ahead, we will walk gently through these ideas, not to analyze them, but to let them soothe the nervous mind. You do not need to remember anything. You do not need to agree. Just let the words pass through, like warm air through an open window. If sleep comes, let it come. If thoughts wander, let them wander. Nothing here demands attention. Everything here allows rest. This time is for settling, for remembering what balance feels like, for letting the heart grow quiet again, for easing into a deeper night. And if you'd like, feel free to notice where you are listening from tonight. Story 1. The cup left on the table. The house had finally grown quiet after a long, demanding day. A single cup sat on the wooden table, still warm from earlier tea. Its steam had faded, but its presence remained calm and steady. You might know this moment well. The day has ended, yet the mind keeps moving. Thoughts circle like tired birds, unsure where to land. In an old village, a monk once noticed the same restlessness. He watched villagers hurry, striving to finish one more task. At night, their bodies rested, but their minds kept working. The monk did not scold or explain. He simply left his teacup on the table each evening. When asked why, he smiled softly and said nothing. Over time, people noticed something. Seeing the untouched cup reminded them to stop, not forever, just for the night. The Buddha once spoke of actions leaving quiet impressions, like a cup placed gently, not slammed down. The Dhammapada speaks of calm following careful living. This cup was not about tea. It was about knowing when enough is enough, when effort can rest without guilt. You may carry unfinished thoughts tonight. Let them be like that cup, present, but no longer needing attention. Nothing more is required now. The day has been placed down gently. The night can hold you instead, and the quiet teaching remains. When we set things down with care, the heart learns to do the same. Story 2. The path between the pines. A narrow path ran between tall pine trees. Dark and still, moonlight touched the ground in soft, uneven patterns. Each step made a sound only the walker could hear. A traveler once walked this path every night. By day, his work demanded speed and certainty. By night, his mind replayed every choice. He feared he had chosen wrongly. Many times, regret followed him like a second shadow. Sleep felt far away, even when tired. One evening, he met an old teacher by the path. The teacher listened without interruption or advice. Then he pointed gently at the trees. "These pines grow straight," he said softly, "not because they try, but because they respond. You serve unkan." The traveler did not fully understand. Later, he remembered a teaching from the Nikayas. Intent shapes the direction, not perfection. Karma follows the heart's lean, not its stumbles. Walking again, he noticed something new. The path was not perfectly straight, yet it still led home. His past steps had shaped the trail, some wide, some narrow, all leading forward. Nothing had been wasted or rejected. That night, his breathing slowed naturally. The mind stopped arguing with memory. The body followed the forest into rest. The teaching lingered quietly. Right conduct is not rigid control. It is gentle alignment, step by step. Story 3. The bell at dawn. Before sunrise, a small bell rang at the monastery gate. Its sound was low, round, and patient. It did not rush the morning awake. A young worker in the nearby town heard it daily. He worked long hours, chasing stability and approval. At night, his thoughts rehearsed tomorrow endlessly. One morning, exhausted, he followed the bell. Inside the monastery, no one hurried to greet him. The bell had already said enough. A monk later shared a quiet reflection. The Anguttara Nikaya speaks of moderation in effort. Too tight, the string breaks. Too loose, it fails. The bell did not shout its purpose. It trusted the sound to travel naturally. The worker felt something release inside his chest. He realized how tightly he pulled himself each day, mistaking tension for responsibility, mistaking pressure for worth. That evening, he slept without planning tomorrow. The bell's tone echoed softly in memory. Nothing else was needed. The teaching settled like morning light. Balanced effort invites peace, and peace knows when to rest. Story 4. The unsent letter. A letter lay folded in a drawer for many years. Its words were heavy with unsaid feelings. Each night, the writer remembered it. She had wanted to explain herself once, to defend, to be understood, to be forgiven. But time moved on without the letter. In the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha spoke gently. Right speech includes knowing when silence heals. Not every truth needs delivery. One evening, she opened the drawer again. This time, her hands felt lighter. The need to send had faded. She placed the letter back softly, not as failure, but as release. The past no longer asked for action. That night, sleep came quietly. The heart had spoken enough already. Peace followed restraint, just as taught. Story 5. The river that did not hurry. A wide river moved through the valley without effort. It reflected clouds, birds, and evening light. Nothing pushed it forward. A man sat beside it, troubled by comparison. Others seemed ahead, successful, complete. His own life felt delayed. He remembered a Jataka tale. A river reaches the sea by continuing, not rushing. Stopping is not failure, nor is flowing slow. Watching the water, his breath matched its pace. The need to measure faded. The body understood before the mind did. The teaching remained like cool air. Right living honors natural timing, and sleep arrives when striving loosens. Story 6. The lamp by the window. A small lamp glowed near the window each night. It did not light the whole room, only enough to soften the dark. An elder once said, recalling the Satipatthana Sutta, awareness is like a lamp, not a spotlight. It notices gently, without judgment. A tired parent learned this slowly. Not every worry needed full attention. Some only needed acknowledgement. As the lamp glowed, thoughts passed quietly. No need to chase or fix them. Sleep followed simple noticing. The teaching whispered softly, gentle awareness brings rest. Force never does. Story 7. The stone in the pocket. A smooth stone lived in a pocket for years. It reminded someone of a difficult promise. Responsibility weighed more than the stone itself. In the Kalama Sutta, trust comes from experience, not pressure or fear, not endless obligation. One night, the stone was set on the table. The promise had already shaped the heart. It no longer needed carrying. Sleep arrived without resistance. The burden had taught enough. Release was also part of wisdom. Story 8. The quiet apology. An apology was never spoken aloud, yet it was lived daily through kindness. Through patience learned the hard way. The Abhaya Sutta speaks of words that heal. Some are spoken, some are lived quietly. As the body rested, regret softened. The heart knew its direction had changed. That was enough. Peace followed intention. Karma responded gently. Sleep came naturally. Story 9. The garden after rain. Rain had washed the garden clean. Leaves shone under soft moonlight. Nothing hurried to grow. A mind once crowded with plans rested here. The Meghiya Sutta speaks of conditions for calm, simplicity, reflection, letting go. The garden did not demand improvement. It simply received the rain. The mind followed its example. Rest felt deserved at last. Effort had paused. Balance returned quietly. Story 10. The net of light. Stars formed quiet patterns across the sky. Each one seemed separate, yet connected. Indra's net came to mind. Every action reflects countless others, not as pressure, but as belonging. No one carries life alone. The listener may feel this now, supported by unseen kindness, held without effort. The final teaching rests softly. Live gently, and rest will follow. The night already understands. Story 11. The clock without numbers. The clock on the wall had no numbers. Only two thin hands moved quietly in circles. It ticked without urgency, steady and kind. A woman noticed it while visiting an old friend. Her own life felt ruled by schedules and deadlines. At night, time pressed against her chest. The clock seemed strange at first. "How do you know the time?" she once asked. The friend smiled and poured warm tea. "I feel it," he said softly. "When it is time to work, I work. When it is time to rest, I rest." Isnaud, we have nevermind. Later, alone in bed, she remembered this. The Sutta Nikaya speaks of conditions arising naturally. Nothing needs forcing when causes are gentle. She realized how often she rushed herself, even into sleep, as if rest were another task to complete. That night, she let the clock disappear from thought. Breathing slowed. Minutes stopped counting themselves. The teaching lingered like soft ticking. When urgency fades, balance appears, and rest follows naturally. Story 12. The chair by the door. A wooden chair sat by the door every evening. Its surface was worn smooth by years of waiting. No one hurried to sit there. A father used it after long work days. Before speaking, before fixing anything, he learned this habit from his teacher. The Sigalovada Sutta speaks of duties held with care, and of knowing when effort must pause. Sitting there, he released the day slowly. Anger softened. Words became fewer and kinder. His family felt the change without explanation. The house grew calmer. Evenings felt safer. Later, lying in bed, he remembered the chair, how pausing had shaped the night, how restraint had protected peace. The teaching settled quietly. Right conduct includes knowing when to stop, and stopping invites sleep. Story 13. The bowl filled slowly. A monk once filled his bowl grain by grain. He did not rush the motion. Each sound was soft and complete. A young professional remembered this story often. Her work demanded constant speed. Her thoughts raced long after sunset. The Abhidhamma speaks of accumulation. Small moments shape the whole mind. Nothing arrives all at once. One evening, she washed dishes slowly, feeling water, hearing plates. No multitasking, no planning. The mind followed the hands. The body felt safe enough to rest. Sleep arrived without struggle. The quiet lesson remained. Peace is built gently, and patience carries us there. Story 14. The mountain seen through fog. Fog covered the mountain each morning. Its shape was known, but unseen. No one worried about its absence. A man burdened by uncertainty remembered this image. His future felt hidden and unstable. At night, fear filled the silence. The Majjhima Nikaya speaks of not knowing fully, and of walking anyway, with care, faith without blindness, effort without strain. One night, he imagined the mountain resting quietly, still present, even unseen. His breath followed this steadiness. Sleep came like thinning fog. No answers required, only trust in what remains. Story 15. The thread mended quietly. A small tear appeared in a favorite shirt, barely visible, but noticed. It reminded someone of past mistakes. An elder once said, recalling the Upali Sutta, repair begins with honesty, not shame. Quiet mending changes more than hiding. The shirt was sewn slowly that evening, each stitch deliberate and calm. The heart softened with the motion. That night, regret loosened its grip. What could be mended had been. The rest could rest. The teaching stayed simple. Gentle repair brings peace, and peace invites sleep. Story 16. The road swept each morning, each dawn. An old woman swept the same road. Leaves returned by afternoon. She swept again the next day. A passerby once asked why she bothered. She smiled and continued sweeping. The road was never the point. In the Vitakasantana Sutta, the Buddha spoke of tending the mind patiently, again and again, without frustration. That night, remembering this, thoughts arose and passed. No fighting, no judgment, just gentle sweeping. Sleep followed the rhythm, care without expectation, effort without tension. Story 17. The window left open. A window remained open through the night. Cool air moved the curtains softly. Nothing was forced outside. A person struggling with control noticed this image, trying to manage every outcome, even in dreams. The Karaniya Metta Sutta speaks of openness, loving kindness without grasping, allowing life to breathe, letting thoughts pass like air. The body relaxed. The mind followed. The teaching whispered quietly, openness calms the heart, and calm carries us into sleep. Story 18. The footsteps at dusk. Footsteps echoed briefly on a stone path, then faded into evening. No trace remained. Someone troubled by past words heard this inwardly. The Abhaya Sutta teaches careful speech and forgiveness when words have passed. What was spoken could not return, but intention could change direction. The heart felt lighter. Sleep arrived gently. The path ahead felt open. The past rested behind. Story 19. The warm blanket. A blanket was placed gently over tired shoulders. Its weight was reassuring. Nothing more was needed. The Kuba Akama Vibhanga Sutta speaks of causes ripening. Care given returns as comfort, often quietly, receiving warmth. The body softened. The mind stopped bracing itself. Rest felt safe. The teaching settled warmly. Kindness returns as ease, and ease brings sleep. Story 20. The last light. One candle remained lit in the hall. Its flame steady, not bright, enough to guide, not distract. Indra's net came to mind again, each light reflecting countless others. No flame alone. You may feel this now. Supported, connected, allowed to rest. Nothing asked of you. The final teaching rests softly here. Live gently. Release the day. The night will hold you. Story 21. The porch light still on. The porch light glowed softly against the dark street. It was not bright, just steady and patient. Moths drifted near it, then wandered away again. Inside the house, someone lay awake, listening. The day had been full of responsibility and noise. Even now, the mind reviewed conversations again and again. The porch light had been left on for years, not out of fear, but out of welcome, a quiet signal saying, someone is home. Long ago, a teacher spoke in the Sayutta Nikaya. He said the mind needs places of return, simple points of safety, not endless analysis. The light outside did not ask questions. It did not judge who came or went. It simply stayed on, doing its small job. The listener noticed their breath slow. Inhaling felt less sharp. Exhaling felt more complete. Thoughts still passed through, but softer now, like cars driving past the house. Present, then gone. The porch light kept shining. No effort, no expectation, just quiet presence through the night. And the teaching settled gently. When the heart feels welcome, it knows how to rest. Story 22. The notebook closed. A notebook lay closed on the desk. Its pages were filled with careful plans, lists, reminders, unfinished ideas. The owner of the notebook felt uneasy at night, afraid something important would be forgotten. Control felt safer than rest. One evening, the notebook stayed closed. The hand hesitated, then relaxed. Nothing urgent rose to the surface. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of trust in wholesome intention. Not everything needs recording to be remembered. The mind slowly followed this truth. What mattered had already shaped the heart. The rest could wait until morning. The room felt wider. The chest felt lighter. Sleep no longer felt risky. The quiet teaching remained. When we trust ourselves gently, the mind can finally lie down. Story 23. The dog waiting patiently. A dog lay near the door, calm and still. Its eyes opened when footsteps passed, then closed again without concern. The dog had learned a simple rhythm. People come back. There is no need to worry. A tired person noticed this one evening. Their own thoughts always waited tensely, expecting problems to arrive. The Buddha once spoke in the Jataka tales. Animals teach without words. Presence without anticipation is enough. Watching the dog breathe, the person felt permission to stop guarding. Nothing needed preparing for right now. The body softened against the bed. Sleep came like a trusted return. No vigilance required. And the teaching lingered kindly. Trust the rhythm of life. It knows how to come back. Story 24. The slow elevator. The elevator descended slowly at night. No one else was inside. The hum was low and steady. Someone stood there, exhausted from the day, used to rushing between floors, always pressing the close button. Tonight, there was no rush. The elevator moved at its own pace. Nothing could speed it up. In the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of acceptance of conditions. Some things unfold only at their speed. The shoulders dropped slightly. The jaw unclenched. The mind followed the descent. Later, in bed, that same pace returned. Thoughts slowed. Breathing deepened naturally. The teaching rested quietly. Not everything responds to force. Rest arrives through patience. Story 25. The cupboard door. A cupboard door creaked slightly when opened. Inside, familiar dishes rested in rows. Nothing had changed since yesterday. A person burdened by uncertainty noticed this. Their life felt unstable lately. Too many changes. Too quickly. The simple cupboard offered reassurance. Some things remain reliable, even when plans shift. The Buddha spoke of refuges, not escape, but steadiness. Small truths we return to. That night, the image returned softly. The mind found something solid to lean on. Sleep followed without resistance, and the teaching stayed gentle. Find what is steady. Let it support your rest. Story 26. The street after midnight. The street was empty after midnight. Traffic lights changed for no one. Silence filled the space between buildings. A restless mind often woke at this hour. Old worries resurfaced here. This time felt vulnerable, yet the empty street was calm. Nothing demanded attention. Nothing was wrong. The Satipatthana Sutta speaks of observing calmly, seeing without adding stories, letting sensations pass. The stillness entered the body. Muscles loosened. The night felt safe again. The teaching whispered quietly, "Silence can hold you. You do not need to fill it." Story 27. The worn key. A key with smooth edges rested in a bowl. Years of use had shaped it. It opened the same door every day. Someone held it before bed, thinking. So many mistakes had shaped their life. Could anything still open? The key answered without words. Use does not ruin purpose. It refines it. The Buddha spoke of karma as learning, not condemnation, not erasure. The hand relaxed. The key was set down. Sleep followed gently, and the teaching remained warm. What has been lived shapes wisdom, and wisdom brings peace. Story 28. The empty inbox. The inbox was empty for the first time in weeks. No alerts waited. No responses were required. A tired worker stared at the screen, not knowing what to do next. Stillness felt unfamiliar. In the Kalama Sutta, the Buddha encouraged discernment, knowing when effort is complete. The screen went dark. The room felt quiet again. The body welcomed the pause. The teaching settled easily. Completion allows rest, and rest restores clarity. Story 29. The chair facing the window. A chair faced the window in the bedroom. Moonlight touched its arms gently. No one sat there now. Someone had once sat there worrying. Tonight, the chair waited empty. Nothing needed holding anymore. The Mahasatipatthana Sutta speaks of letting go. Thoughts come and go. We do not have to sit with all of them. The bed felt more inviting. The mind chose softness. Sleep arrived quietly, and the teaching rested near. You may leave worries behind. They do not follow you into rest. Story 30. The breath that knows. Breath moved in and out steadily. No instruction was needed. It knew its own rhythm. A lifetime of effort softened here. Nothing to manage. Nothing to improve. The Buddha spoke often of this breath. A companion always present, never demanding attention, listening to it now. The listener felt guided without words, carried gently into the night. The final teaching remained like a whisper. Trust what already supports you. The breath will lead you into sleep. Story 31. The shoes by the door. The shoes rested quietly by the door, toes pointing outward, ready for tomorrow. They had carried the weight of the day. Now they were allowed to stop. Someone noticed them while turning off the lights. The feet still ached slightly, holding memories of long hours, tight schedules, careful decisions. The shoes did not complain. They did not rush to be useful again. They simply waited, trusting there would be another morning. In the Sayutta Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of the body as a companion, to be cared for, not driven, to be listened to, not ignored. Standing there, the person felt the message land. How often the body was pushed past kindness. How rarely it was thanked. Tonight, that could change. The shoes stayed by the door. The feet eased into the bed. The legs released their effort slowly, like ropes gently loosened. Thoughts tried to rise again, but they felt less convincing now. The body had already decided. Rest was the next right step, and the quiet teaching settled in. When we allow the body to stop, the mind often follows, and sleep arrives without argument. Story 32. The last dish drying. One dish remained on the counter, still drying in the open air. Everything else had been put away. A person paused before wiping it dry. There was no hurry now. The kitchen felt calm and complete. In the Anguttara Nikaya, it is said that knowing completion brings peace. Not every moment needs polishing. Some are finished as they are. The dish dried on its own. Nothing bad happened. Nothing was lost or forgotten. Later, lying in bed, that small freedom returned. The urge to perfect the day faded. The mind softened its grip. Sleep came quietly, like a task that completes itself when no one is watching. The teaching remained simple and kind. Not everything needs your hands. Some things resolve in stillness. Story 33. The road light turning green. A road light turned green on an empty street. No cars waited. The signal changed anyway. Someone awake late noticed this from the window. Life felt like waiting lately. Pauses without clear direction. The Buddha once spoke of timing. Causes and conditions ripen when ready, not when we demand them. The green light glowed patiently, then shifted again. The rhythm continued without audience. Watching it, the watcher felt relief. Movement did not require presence. Progress did not depend on pressure. The breath slowed. The shoulders dropped. Sleep found an open path, and the teaching rested gently. Life moves even when you rest. You do not need to keep watch. Story 34. The folded blanket. A blanket was folded carefully at the foot of the bed. Its edges lined up softly. It waited, warm and reliable. Someone remembered folding blankets as a child, a small ritual of care, a sign that the day was ending. The Sigalovada Sutta speaks of care in small things, respect shown through quiet actions, balance held through simple routines. The blanket was pulled up slowly. Warmth spread without effort. The body felt protected again. The mind followed the body into safety. Thoughts slowed their pace. Nothing needed guarding tonight. The teaching lingered like warmth. Gentle care creates calm, and calm invites deep rest. Story 35. The quiet intersection. Two empty streets crossed under a pale moon. No sound, no motion. Just open space, meeting open space. A mind often raced at this hour. Choices replayed. Words re-examined. Every direction questioned. The Majjhima Nikaya speaks of letting thought settle, not by force, but by seeing clearly. Sometimes, no direction is required. The intersection did not worry. It existed without preference, still and complete. The watcher felt something loosen. The need to decide faded. Sleep stepped in gently, and the teaching stayed near. Stillness is also a direction, and it leads inward. Story 36. The old calendar. An old calendar hung forgotten in the garage. Months long past, still displayed. Nothing had erased them. Someone noticed it while storing boxes, thinking of time lost, plans that never happened. The Buddha spoke of impermanence gently. Time moves, but it does not accuse. It simply passes. The calendar did not judge itself. It had served its season. Now it rested. That night, memories softened. The past stopped arguing. The body found rest. The teaching remained quiet and true. What has passed can rest. You do not need to carry it tonight. Story 37. The Open Book. A book lay open on the nightstand. The page marked itself. No effort required. A reader often worried about forgetting, losing progress, falling behind. In the Kalama Sutta, trust grows from experience, not fear. Understanding returns when we are ready. The book stayed open. The light went off. Nothing was lost. Sleep arrived like a bookmark, holding the place gently. The teaching whispered softly. You can pause without falling behind. Life remembers where you left off. Story 38. The mailbox at night. The mailbox stood empty under the stars. No letters waited inside. No news was arriving now. Someone once checked it anxiously each evening, expecting bills, messages, demands. Tonight, there was nothing. The Buddha taught contentment simply, knowing when nothing is required, allowing the moment to be enough. The mailbox did not worry. It fulfilled its purpose already. Waiting was part of its role. The watcher breathed easier. The night felt less threatening. Sleep felt allowed, and the teaching remained calm. Not every moment brings demands. Some bring rest. Story 39. The ceiling fan. The ceiling fan turned slowly overhead. Its rhythm, steady and predictable. Air moved without disturbance. A restless mind followed its motion, round and round. Nothing urgent happening. The Satipatthana Sutta speaks of observation, staying with simple sensation, letting complexity fall away. The fan kept turning. The breath matched its pace. Thoughts thinned out. Sleep arrived like still air, quiet and natural. The teaching stayed soft and close. Simple rhythms calm the mind. You are safe to follow them. Story 40. The light behind the curtains. Light glowed faintly behind closed curtains. The world outside continued quietly. Nothing asked for attention. A tired heart noticed this comfort. Life did not stop when resting. It continued kindly. Indra's net came to mind again. Each part supporting the whole. No one holding everything alone. The body relaxed into the bed. The mind trusted the night. Sleep deepened naturally. And the final teaching rested here. You are supported even in rest. The night carries you gently onward. Story 41. The kettle cooling. The kettle had finished boiling some time ago. Now it sat quietly on the stove, cooling on its own. No steam rose anymore. No sound remained. Just a soft presence in the dim kitchen light. Someone noticed it while walking past in slippers. The day had been loud, full of requests and decisions. Even now, the mind replayed moments repeatedly. The body felt ready for rest. But the thoughts were not. The kettle did not rush to stay hot. It did not try to remain useful. Its work was done, and it accepted that. Cooling was not failure, just the next phase. In the Sutta Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of conditions changing naturally. Heat arises. Heat fades. Nothing needs to cling to its earlier state. Standing there, the person felt something soften. How often they tried to stay sharp and alert, even when the day was clearly over, even when nothing more was required. The kettle continued cooling without concern. The room felt quieter noticing this. The shoulders dropped slightly. Breathing slowed without instruction. Later, in bed, the image returned. Thoughts were still warm, but losing intensity. No need to push them away. They would cool on their own. Sleep arrived gradually, without command. like warmth leaving metal, natural and gentle, and the teaching rested softly in the dark. When effort is complete, allow yourself to cool. Story 42. The fence at the edge of the field. A wooden fence marked the edge of a wide field. Beyond it, grass moved freely in the night breeze. The fence did not block the wind. It only marked where one space ended. Someone walking nearby felt tired in a deeper way. Not just physical exhaustion, but the tiredness of carrying too much responsibility. Everything felt like it belonged to them. The fence stood without apology. It did not extend endlessly. It knew where its work ended. The rest of the field was not its concern. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of wise boundaries, care without possession, responsibility without overreach. The person leaned on the fence briefly, feeling the strength of limitation. How relief can come from knowing this is far enough. That night, lying down, old worries approached the same boundary. Some stopped there, others faded quietly beyond it. The mind felt less crowded. The body felt supported by limits. Sleep no longer felt guarded, and the teaching settled like evening dew. Knowing where to stop is also a form of wisdom. Story 43. The radio playing low. A radio played softly in another room. The volume was low, barely noticeable. Music drifted in and out of awareness. Someone lay awake, listening without focus. The day had been filled with sharp sounds, meetings, traffic, notifications. The quiet felt unfamiliar. The radio did not demand attention. It offered sound without pressure, presence without interruption. In the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of the middle way, not silence forced, not noise indulged. The listener let the sound pass through. No need to follow the melody, no need to name the song, just sound arriving and leaving. Breathing found its rhythm, thoughts loosened their grip. The body recognized safety again. Sleep approached quietly, like a song fading at the end of a track. No clear moment of stopping, and the teaching remained like a soft echo. Gentle balance calms the heart. Excess effort is not required. Story 44. The coat hung carefully. A coat was hung on a hook near the door. Its weight settled into stillness. Pockets emptied. Sleeves relaxed. Someone had worn it through a long day, against cold air and strong demands. Now it rested, finally released. The Sigalovada Sutta speaks of proper care, not only for others, but for oneself as well. Hanging the coat felt symbolic. The role worn all day was set aside. Nothing needed to be proven now. Later, in bed, the body remembered this gesture. Muscles let go. The spine softened. The mind followed the body's example, letting the day hang where it belonged, not carried into the night. And the teaching stayed close. You may set down who you were today. Rest does not require performance. Story 45. The bridge over quiet water. A small bridge crossed a narrow stream. Water moved beneath it without sound. The bridge did not interfere. It simply allowed passage. Someone paused there one evening, caught between past worries and future plans, feeling suspended, unsure where to stand. The Buddha spoke of transition gently. Life is often a crossing, not a destination. Standing on the bridge, the person noticed the water below, always moving, never anxious, always arriving somewhere new. That night, the image returned. The sense of being in between softened. It was enough to be crossing. Sleep arrived like the far shore, without announcement, without effort, and the teaching flowed quietly onward. Trust the crossing. You do not need to rush the other side. Story 46. The drawer that slides smoothly. A drawer opened and closed without noise. Its movement was easy and practiced. Nothing caught or resisted. Someone noticed this small grace. After a day full of friction, arguments, misunderstandings, inner tension, the Abhidhamma speaks of mental habits. Smooth actions come from gentle repetition, not force. The drawer reminded them of this truth. Ease is learned over time, through patience, not pressure. Later, thoughts opened and closed more smoothly. No need to hold them open. No need to slam them shut. Sleep followed this rhythm, natural and unforced. And the teaching rested quietly. Gentleness practiced daily becomes peace at night. Story 47. The street sweeper before dawn. A street sweeper moved slowly before sunrise. Lights dim. Engine low. Cleaning streets, no one was watching. Someone awake early, noticed from the window, feeling unseen in their own efforts, wondering if their work mattered. The Buddha spoke of intention, not applause. Right action stands on its own. The sweeper continued steadily. The street grew clean. The night felt lighter. That morning, sleep finally came, with a sense of quiet worth, and the teaching stayed gentle. What is done with care leaves the world softer. Story 48. The open jar. A jar sat open on the counter, its lid resting nearby. Nothing spilled. Nothing threatened. Someone had always closed jars tightly, afraid of waste, of loss. Control felt safer. The Kalama Sutta speaks of discernment, knowing when fear is unnecessary, knowing when openness is safe. The jar remained open through the night. Nothing bad happened. The body noticed. Sleep came easier than expected, and the teaching whispered kindly, not everything needs sealing shut. Some things breathe better open. Story 49. The last bus passing. The last bus passed quietly down the street, lights glowing briefly, then gone. No rush to catch it. Someone had spent years running, always trying to arrive, always afraid of missing something. The Buddha spoke of sufficiency, knowing when enough has been reached, knowing when to stay. Watching the bus disappear, the person felt relief. Tonight, there was nowhere to go. Sleep arrived like a long-awaited stop, and the teaching settled softly. You are not late. You are exactly where rest begins. Story 50. The pillow receiving the head. The pillow waited quietly on the bed. Cool. Supportive. Unchanged. Ready to receive without condition. A tired head finally rested there. Thoughts still murmured faintly, but they no longer ruled. The Buddha spoke often of refuge, not escape, but support, something that holds without effort. The pillow did not judge the day. It did not ask for improvement. It simply held. Breathing deepened. The body surrendered its weight. The mind followed gently, and the final teaching arrived like a whisper. You are allowed to be held. The night will do the rest. Story 51. The lamp turned down. The lamp beside the bed was turned down low, not off, just softer than before. Light rested gently on the wall, no longer sharp or demanding. Someone lay beneath it, watching shadows slow. The day had required constant brightness, decisions made quickly, attention pulled in many directions. Now the lamp asked for nothing. It did not need to shine fully. Its quieter glow felt kinder, more suitable for the hour. In the Sayutta Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of moderation, not extremes of effort, but a steady, humane balance. The dimmed lamp seemed to echo this. Brightness has its time. So does softness. Neither is better, only appropriate. The eyes grew heavy without forcing. The mind stopped scanning for problems. Nothing important hid in the shadows. Everything essential was already seen. Breathing deepened as light faded further. The body understood the signal. It was safe to let go, and the teaching settled like dusk. You do not need to shine constantly. Rest is also a form of wisdom. Story 52. The clock that waited. The clock on the wall continued ticking. Each second passed without urgency. It did not rush the night forward. It simply marked quiet movement. Someone awake noticed its patience. Their own thoughts felt impatient, always urging tomorrow to arrive, always reviewing yesterday. The Buddha once spoke of time gently. In the Anguttara Nikaya, he reminded listeners that moments arise naturally. They cannot be pushed into ripeness. The clock understood this well. It never skipped ahead, never lagged behind. It trusted its rhythm completely, listening to it. The restless mind softened its pace. Seconds stopped feeling like pressure. They became companions instead. Soon, the ticking faded into background sound. The body sank deeper into the mattress. The jaw unclenched. The forehead smoothed. Sleep arrived quietly between ticks. Not announced, not planned. And the teaching lingered softly. Time knows how to move on its own. You may rest within it. Story 53. The warm mug in two hands. A mug of warm tea rested between two hands. Heat traveled slowly into tired fingers. Steam rose, then disappeared. Someone sat quietly before bed, not scrolling, not planning, just holding warmth. The Buddha spoke often of simple presence. In the Majjhima Nikaya, attention rests best in the body. Here, not elsewhere. The mug asked for nothing. It did not demand conversation, only gentle contact. Hands loosened their grip on the day. Shoulders dropped. The chest felt less tight. Thoughts still appeared, but they moved more slowly now. Warmth grounded attention. The mind followed the hands. Later, in bed, the memory of warmth returned, as if the body remembered how to be held. Sleep came without negotiation, and the teaching remained calm and clear. When attention rests in simple warmth, the mind learns how to rest too. Story 54. The hallway light. A hallway light remained on through the night. Not bright, just enough to guide. It softened the dark corners. Someone lying in bed noticed it. The day had felt uncertain, the future still unclear. The light did not reveal everything. It only showed the next few steps. That was enough. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha spoke of walking wisely, seeing just enough to avoid harm, trusting the rest to unfold. The hallway light felt like this teaching, guidance without overwhelm, support without pressure. The body relaxed, knowing the way was lit. No need to map the whole future. Tonight required only rest. Sleep followed naturally, and the teaching glowed softly. You do not need full clarity. A little light is sufficient. Story 55. The chair that waited. A chair stood quietly in the corner. No one sat there now. It waited without complaint. Someone had used that chair to worry, to replay conversations, to rehearse difficult tomorrows. Tonight, the chair remained empty. Worries passed it by. The bed felt more inviting. In the Vitakasantana Sutta, the Buddha spoke of redirecting thought, not fighting it, but choosing where to sit. The body chose the bed. The chair was no longer needed. Sleep came easier than expected, and the teaching rested gently nearby. You do not have to sit with every thought. Some may wait until morning. Story 56. The rain that tapped softly. Rain tapped lightly against the window. Not a storm, just a steady rhythm. Each drop brief and complete. Someone awake, listened without effort. The mind matched the rhythm. Thoughts slowed. The Buddha often spoke of impermanence. In the Sayutta Nikaya, he described sensations arising and passing, like rain on glass. No drop stayed long. No sound demanded attention. Together, they soothed. The body followed the rain. Breathing deepened. Muscles softened. Sleep arrived between drops, and the teaching whispered kindly, "Nothing stays long enough to trap you. You may let each moment pass." Story 57. The quiet sink. Water flowed gently into the sink. Hands moved slowly beneath it. Nothing hurried this moment. Someone washed their face before bed, letting the day rinse away. No mirror needed. The Satipatthana Sutta speaks of mindfulness, awareness in simple actions. No extra meaning required. Water cooled the skin. The body felt refreshed. The mind followed the sensation. Later, lying down, the sense of freshness remained. Sleep felt clean and unburdened, and the teaching stayed simple. When the body is cared for gently, the mind responds with ease. Story 58. The note left on the table. A small note lay on the table. Just a few words. Nothing urgent. Someone had written it earlier. A reminder that could wait. No pressure attached. The Buddha spoke of intention over urgency. In the Anguttara Nikaya, what matters is the heart behind action. Seeing the note, the person felt relief. Nothing was being forgotten. Sleep arrived knowing tomorrow was prepared enough, and the teaching rested softly. Trust your intention. You have done what you can. Story 59. The road curving away. A road curved gently out of sight. Streetlights marked its bend. No destination visible. Someone stared at this view from a window. Life felt uncertain. The path unclear. The Buddha spoke of the middle path. Not knowing everything at once. Walking with care instead. The road did not demand certainty. It simply invited movement when ready. The watcher felt comforted. Not everything must be seen tonight. Sleep followed this acceptance, and the teaching remained steady. You do not need to see the end. Rest prepares you for the next step. Story 60. The night holding everything. The night stretched quietly around the house. Rooms resting. Streets resting. Someone lay wrapped in blankets, finally allowing stillness. Nothing left to manage. The Buddha spoke of refuge, not escape from life, but trust in what holds us. The night held everything now. Thoughts, memories, breath. Nothing fell away. The body released fully. Sleep deepened naturally, and the final teaching arrived without words. You are held. The night knows what to do. Story 61. The window left uncovered. The curtain was left slightly open tonight. Not wide. Just enough for moonlight to enter. A pale glow rested across the floor. Nothing sharp. Nothing demanding attention. Someone lay awake, noticing this choice. Usually the curtains were closed tightly, as if darkness needed controlling, as if the outside world should be kept away. Tonight felt different. The day had been heavy with control, plans, outcomes, expectations. Even rest had felt like something to manage. The uncovered window did not argue. Moonlight came in quietly. It did not rush across the room. It simply arrived and stayed. In the Majjhima Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of allowing experience, seeing without grasping, letting life touch us gently. The moon did not invade the room. It did not disturb the furniture. It softened edges. It reminded the body of night's safety. Breathing slowed without instruction. The eyes no longer searched the ceiling. Thoughts lost their sharp outlines. They became softer shapes, drifting by. Memories arose, then passed. Plans appeared, then faded. Nothing needed correction. Nothing required effort. The moonlight remained steady. It did not brighten when noticed. It did not dim when ignored. It simply accompanied the moment. Sleep approached quietly, like a familiar friend. No need for invitation, no need for resistance, and the teaching rested gently in the dark. When you allow life to touch you softly, the mind learns to soften too. Story 62. The shoes drying overnight. The shoes sat near the heater, drying slowly. They had been wet from the day's work. Darkened leather, heavy soles. Now warmth returned to them gradually. Someone noticed them before bed. The day had been long and draining. Energy felt soaked through. Even rest seemed far away. The shoes did not rush to dry. They did not complain about being damp. They accepted the warmth patiently. Drying would happen in its own time. In the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha spoke of recovery. Strain eases when conditions are kind. Nothing heals through pressure. Standing there, the person felt understood. How often they expected instant recovery. Sleep on command. Energy restored immediately. The shoes showed another way. Rest near warmth. Time allowed. No criticism for being tired. Later, in bed, the body remembered this lesson. Muscles loosened slowly. Breath deepened without effort. Thoughts were still present, but less insistent now. They, too, could dry out overnight. No need to solve them now. Sleep arrived quietly, not deep at first, then deeper, naturally, and the teaching settled like gentle heat. When you rest near warmth and patience, renewal comes on its own. Story 63. The road after rain. The road shone under streetlights. Rain had passed through earlier. Puddles reflected quiet lamps. Everything looked freshly softened. Someone watched from the window. The day had felt muddy. Mistakes replayed. Regret clung stubbornly. The road did not hide its wetness. It reflected light anyway. Water remained where it was. No apology needed. The Buddha spoke of purification gently. In the Sayutta Nikaya, he taught that clarity returns naturally. No punishment required. Watching the road, the watcher felt a small release. The day did not need erasing. It could simply settle. Reflections trembled in puddles, then stilled. Nothing forced them to disappear. Time did that work. Later, lying down, The mind followed the same pattern. Thoughts shimmered briefly, then quieted. Sleep arrived like cooled pavement, still carrying marks of the day, yet calm, ready for morning. And the teaching rested gently. After difficulty, clarity returns when we allow settling. Story 64. The book returned to the shelf. A book was placed back on the shelf. The page was not finished. A finger marked the spot briefly, then let go. Someone felt a familiar worry rise. What if they forgot the meaning? What if they lost progress? What if stopping meant failure? The Buddha spoke of continuity differently. In the Majjhima Nikaya, he reminded listeners that understanding matures. It does not vanish overnight. The book rested comfortably among others. It did not mind waiting. Its story remained intact. Nothing was lost. In bed, the person noticed the same truth. Thoughts could be paused. Life would remember the place. Sleep arrived without guilt, and the teaching remained calm. You may pause your efforts. Wisdom continues growing quietly. Story 65. The warm socks. Warm socks slid onto tired feet. Fabric soft, familiar. Toes relaxed immediately. Someone had rushed all day, barely noticing the body, living mostly in thought. The Buddha spoke of grounding, attention returning to the body, a home always available. Warmth spread upward slowly. Legs softened. The nervous system sighed. Thoughts grew quieter. The body felt acknowledged. Sleep followed naturally, and the teaching whispered kindly, care for the body gently. The mind will follow. Story 66. The quiet parking lot. The parking lot was nearly empty. Lines painted clearly. Lights humming softly overhead. Someone sat in their car briefly, not ready to go inside yet, letting the day drain away. The Buddha spoke of pauses, moments between rolls, neither here nor there. The stillness felt supportive. No one expected anything. Breathing slowed. Later, in bed, that pause returned. Sleep entered easily, and the teaching remained. Pauses restore balance. You may take them freely. Story 67. The drawer left slightly open. A drawer remained slightly open. Nothing dangerous inside. Nothing spilling out. Someone usually closed everything tightly. Control felt safer. Completion felt necessary. The Buddha spoke of ease. Perfection is not required for peace. Good enough can rest. The open drawer caused no harm. The mind noticed, relaxed. Sleep arrived gently, and the teaching settled. Not everything must be closed. Some things rest open. Story 68. The ceiling above the bed. The ceiling looked the same as always. Smooth, quiet, familiar. No stories written there. Someone stared upward, as they had many nights, waiting for sleep. The Buddha spoke of neutrality. Not every experience carries meaning. Some simply exist. The ceiling remained unchanged. The body stopped searching. Sleep followed, and the teaching remained simple. You do not need meaning to rest. Presence is enough. Story 69. The cup filled halfway. A cup was filled halfway with water, not to the brim. Enough for now. Someone had always filled things completely. Afraid of shortage. Afraid of not enough. The Buddha spoke of sufficiency, knowing when enough has arrived, stopping without fear. The half-filled cup felt honest. The body felt relieved. Sleep followed easily, and the teaching rested gently. Enough is often already here. You may rest with it. Story 70. The night breathing back. The night felt alive with quiet breaths. Trees moving gently. Air flowing steadily. Someone lay listening. No effort required. Breathing returned on its own. The Buddha spoke often of this breath, a companion that never leaves, always willing to guide. Breath and night moved together. The body trusted both. Sleep deepened naturally, and the final teaching arrived softly. You are never breathing alone. Rest comes when you trust that. Story 71. The porch swing moving slowly. The porch swing moved slightly in the night air. Not enough to notice at first. Just a gentle creak, like a quiet breath of wood and rope. Someone lay inside, listening through an open window. The day had been filled with movement, emails, errands, conversations. Even rest had felt scheduled. The swing did not hurry its motion. It moved when the breeze allowed. It stopped when the air grew still. No effort, no resistance. Long ago, the Buddha spoke of harmony. In the Sayutta Nikaya, he described living in tune with conditions, moving when it is time, resting when it is not. The listener felt something loosen. How often they pushed themselves to keep going, mistaking motion for meaning, mistaking stillness for failure. The swing creaked again, softly, then fell quiet. Both moments felt complete. Neither needed correction. Breathing slowed to match the rhythm. In, out, like movement and rest, equal partners. Thoughts drifted through without weight. No need to follow them. No need to stop them. They moved like air itself. Sleep arrived gradually, not as a sudden drop, but as a settling, like the swing coming to rest. And the teaching stayed with the night. When you trust the natural rhythm, rest arrives without effort. Story 72. The envelope left unopened. An envelope rested on the table, unopened, untouched, its corners slightly bent. Someone noticed it before bed. A familiar pull toward worry arose. What news might be inside? What demand might be waiting? Tonight, the envelope stayed closed. It did not call out. It did not vibrate with urgency. It simply existed. The Buddha once spoke of restraint. In the Majjhima Nikaya, he taught that wisdom includes timing. Not everything must be known immediately. The person breathed out slowly. Tomorrow would arrive soon enough. Tonight belonged to rest. The envelope could wait. In bed, the mind returned to this choice. Not avoidance, but care. Sleep came more easily. The unknown lost its sharpness. The body felt safer, and the teaching rested quietly. Some things open best in the morning. Night is for closing gently. Story 73. The steps counted down. Steps led down from the porch to the yard, worn smooth by years of use. Each one familiar underfoot. Someone remembered counting them once, trying to stay present, trying to arrive somewhere calmer. The Buddha spoke of awareness in movement. In the Satipatthana Sutta, he described walking simply, knowing the step, nothing more. That memory returned now. In bed, counting breaths instead, not to control them, just to notice. One breath, then another, each complete on its own. The body responded kindly. Muscles softened. The chest eased. Sleep arrived without crossing a finish line, just step by step, until there were no more steps to notice. and the teaching settled softly. Arriving happens naturally when you stop rushing the steps. Story 74. The lamp in the other room. A lamp glowed in the other room. Its light spilled gently into the hallway, enough to know someone was there. Someone lay in bed, reassured by this, not alone. Even if no one was awake, the Buddha spoke of companionship, not always in words, but in presence, knowing support exists. The lamp did not enter the bedroom. It respected the boundary. Still, its glow was felt. Breathing slowed. The nervous system rested. The night felt less empty. Sleep arrived wrapped in quiet trust. And the teaching remained gentle. You do not need to be alone to rest. Support can glow nearby. Story 75. The old tree outside. An old tree stood outside the window. Branches bare, unmoving. Roots deep and unseen. Someone had worried about stability lately. Job, family, direction. Everything felt uncertain. The tree did not worry about seasons. It had known many. Storms, heat, cold. Still standing. The Buddha spoke of resilience. In the Anguttara Nikaya, he taught that steadiness grows quietly, through endurance, not force. Watching the tree, the watcher felt calmer. Strength did not require tension. Rest was part of staying upright. Sleep came like winter, quiet, and the teaching remained steady. You may rest deeply. Your roots know how to hold. Story 76. The glass set down gently. A glass of water was set on the nightstand. Not placed heavily. Just enough pressure to rest. Someone noticed the care in that movement. How rarely they handled themselves that way. Always rushing. Always pushing. The Buddha spoke of gentleness. Right effort does not bruise the mind. It supports it. The glass stayed upright. Nothing spilled. Nothing needed correction. In bed, the body felt that same care. Movement slowed. Thoughts softened. Sleep followed naturally. And the teaching stayed close. Treat yourself with gentleness. Rest responds immediately. Story 77. The quiet refrigerator hum. The refrigerator hummed softly in the kitchen. A steady, low sound. Life continuing without attention. Someone listened from the bedroom, comforted by its constancy, proof that things were functioning. The Buddha spoke of trust in conditions. Life carries itself forward quietly. Not everything needs supervision. The hum blended into the night. The mind stopped scanning for threats. Sleep deepened, and the teaching remained calm. You do not have to monitor everything. Life knows how to continue. Story 78. The jacket on the chair. A jacket rested on the back of a chair, its sleeves hanging loosely. No body inside it now. Someone had worn it all day, carrying roles, expectations, holding shape. Now the jacket rested. No structure required. It kept its form without effort. The Buddha spoke of non-attachment. Roles are worn, not owned. They can be set down. The body followed this wisdom. Shoulders released. Sleep came easily, and the teaching settled gently. You may remove today's role. Rest needs no costume. Story 79. The streetlight flickering once. A streetlight flickered briefly, then steadied. No alarm followed. The night accepted it calmly. Someone watching felt a familiar fear. What if things fail? What if control is lost? The Buddha spoke of impermanence kindly. Change does not mean danger. It simply means movement. The light steadied. The body did too. Sleep arrived, and the teaching remained soft. Small changes do not threaten safety. You may relax. Story 80. The bed holding firm. The bed held firm beneath the body. Mattress supporting evenly. Frame steady and quiet. Someone finally noticed this support. How much weight was carried without complaint? How much was held? The Buddha spoke of refuge again. Not escape, but reliable support. The body trusted the bed. The mind followed. Sleep deepened fully, and the final teaching arrived like a whisper. You are supported right now. It is safe to let go. Write the ending section with softer sentences. Warm reassurance. Seamless transitions. And a gentle fade into sleep. The night is quiet now, and nothing is asking for your attention. You have done enough for today. Even listening has been gentle effort. Your body knows this hour well. It recognizes the slow rhythm. The weight of rest feels familiar. There is nothing new to manage. Thoughts may still pass by softly. You do not need to follow them. Like clouds, they move on their own. The sky remains wide and calm. Breathing continues without guidance. In and out. Steady and kind. Each breath carries you deeper. No direction is required. Long ago, the Buddha spoke simply. When grasping loosens, peace appears, not forced, not earned, just revealed when holding stops. You may feel warmth spreading gently, from the chest to the hands, from the legs to the feet, the body settling into its true place. There is nothing you must remember, nothing you need to fix. The night is already doing its work, holding you without effort. If sleep comes now, let it come. If it comes later, that is fine too. You are safe either way. Rest is already here. The words will grow quieter now, like footsteps fading down a long hall. You do not need to listen closely. Just drift as you are, and if you wish, you may notice where you are tonight, and allow yourself to disappear into rest, knowing everything is gently held.